Thrive Nation, this just in from what, John?
The Washington Times.
The Washington Times
.com.
says... WashingtonTimes.com says what?
And I quote, "The response to the coronavirus is hyped, and in this time, the hype will be revealed as politically hoaxed. In fact, COVID-19 will go down as one of the political world's biggest, most shamefully overblown, overhyped, overly and irrationally inflated, and outright deceptively flawed responses to a health matter in American history, one that was carried largely on the lips of medical professionals who have no business running a national economy or government. The facts are this: COVID-19 is a real disease that sickens some, proves fatal to others, mostly the elderly, and does nothing to the vast majority. That is it."
You know, I think if you look at the utterances at the press conference, when you hear me and others and the vice president and the president speak, it really is the functionally equivalent of that. I understand what you're talking about, Judy, about making a very explicit statement, but that generally is not the way things operate in the relationship between the federal government and the states. I mean, I say out there to all who are listening in all the states that they should be doing this, even though they feel that in certain respects there are relatively few cases in their city, in their town, in their state. That will change. There is no region in the country, in my mind, that's going to be exempt from an outbreak if you do not do the appropriate mitigation issues, namely the physical separations that are clearly spelled out in the guidelines.
Shut up! Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, 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 and yes! Thrive Nation, on today's show, we are interviewing a wonderful lady, a wonderful woman, a great American who has been negatively impacted by the coronavirus, as so many of you have. And I don't know that she's been negatively affected by the coronavirus or impacted by the virus as much as she's been impacted by the government's reaction to the coronavirus panic. And so on today's show, I would like to welcome on Karen Fisher. Welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you?
Thank you. It's good to be here. We're doing all right.
Now, I want to come visit you.
We're healthy, so that's good.
I want to come visit you, but I don't know where you live. Or some of the listeners want to come visit you. When this coronavirus thing is over, many of our listeners want to come and buy some things from you. So tell us, where is your business located?
We are in the little town of Lidditz, Pennsylvania, and it is north of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, in Amish country. But although the town of Lidditz actually is one of the coolest towns in America, like seriously, we won the title of being the coolest small town in America a couple years ago. It's made up of a lot of little small mom and pop restaurants, but we draw tourists. I mean, it's crazy. We have a great main street, and it was thriving.
And what is the name of the town again one more time? Can you spell it for me? I want to make sure all the listeners can Google search it.
Sure. It's Littz.
Lidditz.
Lidditz.
Okay. And it's in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
And in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, you said it's Amish country. Do people there have a very controversial question here? Do the Amish people there, do they have the turning signals on their buggies?
Yes, they do. Absolutely.
Do they make good fudge, good soap? Because my wife and I, whenever we drive through Amish country, you got to buy that soap. You got to buy that fudge.
Absolutely.
You got to get the honey, I believe. You've got to get we got to get there's a lot of what's the best stuff they make around you?
Oh, well, Amish people are known for their shoe fly pies and whoopie pies. Whoopie pies is a cookie. We're famous for that, but shoe fly pie is probably their most popular pie that the Amish are known for. But they're known for a lot of good things. They're so smart, so innovative, and there's so many small businesses that the Amish people start, and they're at the point where they're about ready to say, we're just going to go for it. We're just going to start working because it's really hurting them.
Now, are you in front of a computer?
I am not. I can
Okay.
be though.
No problem. We'll keep it Amish. We'll keep it Amish. No computers. I'm gonna share some really fun facts with you and all the listeners here as we allow you to share your story. But Josh, before Karen begins to share with her about her business and how the coronavirus shutdown has impacted her company, I would like it, if possible, if you could ask her about the Amish cheese, because we know the Amish cheese is a big thing.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts, Karen? Like, what really, if we get really deep and philosophical about it, what are your real sincere thoughts about Amish cheese?
Amish cheese.
Wait, about Amish cheese. Oh, there's none like it.
Oh, fantastic.
The best Amish cheese, it's called Heidi Ann. Heidi Ann Swiss cheese, or Googiesburg. There's two different brands, but those are the best ones. Googiesburg or Heidi Ann.
And not to be confused with Gettysburg. Not
to be confused.
No.
Now, if
No,
it's
not
okay,
Gettysburg. Googiesburg.
I kind of want to just focus on Amish food products for the rest of the show. This is good stuff. Okay, now, no, seriously though. So Karen, you I try to bring a positive attitude to things, but my business, Elephant in the Room, it's a haircut chain. We were told by the government we can't cut hair. No more cutting hair. Can't cut hair, but you could try maybe from 6 feet away. Now, I would like it. Do you have a pen with you, Karen? Do you have a pen with you, a piece of paper?
do. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to do a pop quiz with you, and if you get these questions wrong, you win a mega point because it means I've done a bad job of informing, or the media's done a bad job of informing. So for 5,000 mega points, who initially predicted, what person, and so far I've never had a thriver. We've interviewed hundreds of people. No one's got this right so far. Who initially predicted the government shutdown? Who initially predicted that 2.2 million Americans could die? Who initially predicted the 2.2 million Americans could die that caused the shutdown? What's his name?
Oh man. I just heard it the other day again. I can't remember what it is though.
Okay, here we go.
I just heard it the other day.
I'm going to give you a mega point because the media's done a poor job of informing you. His name is Neil Ferguson, and I'm going to give you a website you can go to look this up. If you go to thrivetimeshow.com and you click on the coronavirus button, I have put the report that everyone refers to. They always say the model. The models predicted 2.2 million American deaths. I put a link to the report so you can read it if you'd like to. It's a good time. Whenever you're quarantined or shut down, it's a blasty blast. I'd encourage you to read it. Now, for another chance to win a mega point, what is the name of the organization that Neil Ferguson is the head of? Because we keep hearing that a UK scientist predicted that 2.2 million Americans might die. What's the name of his organization? Because, again, I've had hundreds of people I've interviewed on the show, and no one's got it right yet. So if you get it right, let's see.
He's the guy that first predicted it, right?
Yep. And what's the name of his organization? Here we go. Here we go.
Is it the World Health Organization? The WHO?
Okay, swing and a miss. Neil Ferguson is the head of the Abdul, and I encourage you to write this down. The Abdul, Abdul, Abdul Latif Jamil Institute for Disease and Emergency Analytics. That's where he's at. And his recommendation is to shut down your business for how many months? How many months does he recommend? I'm going to play you audio of him saying it in a minute. How many months does he recommend that you shut your business down for?
Until we get the vaccine?
Yes. He says 12 to 18 months. And I'll play audio. This is Neil Ferguson, who, by the way, is not an American, who works for the Abdul Latif Jamil Institute. I'm going to play audio. This is Neil Ferguson. Here we go. Cranking it up.
So I think kind of fundamental decisions have to be made by countries as to whether they're going to follow what WHO is recommending and what the Chinese did, namely attempt to suppress all transmission, or alternatively try to mitigate, in some sense control an epidemic, but short of completely stopping spread. And it's an important distinction because in the former case, effectively that's a strategy which, I mean, in theory, if it works, could largely prevent deaths from this infection, but would really have to be kept in place for 12 to 18 months until we have a vaccine available.
Okay, so 12 to 18 months. You heard it here. That's 12 to 18 months. That's what he recommends. And his name's Neil Ferguson. Okay, so we're going through the timeline. Now, who told President Trump we had to shut down the country? Now, what American person said we have to shut down the country? I'd like you to take a stab at it here. And again, if you do not know, it's just poor media education. Which person made the call to shut the country down?
Dr. Fauci.
Oh, you got it right. You win a boo. Oh, you get a point. But in my weird reverse game, you get booed for being right. Okay, so you got one. Now, this right here is President Trump discussing being told we had to shut down. Okay, let me hit play here. Here we go. This is President Trump.
4 weeks ago, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world, the greatest in the world, greatest in the history of the world. We had the most jobs ever in the history of the United States, almost 160 million jobs, right? And then one day, I get a call from Deborah, who's fantastic, and from Dr. Fauci. And she said, we have a problem. I said, what's the problem? And they said, we may have to close it up. I said,
okay. So we got that part. We got that. So again, the report was written by Neil Ferguson. That's step one. We're on the same page. Step two is President Trump was told by Dr. Fauci to shut the country down. Now, what country did the virus come from? This is a chance to win a mega point here. Karen, here we go. What country did the coronavirus come from?
Well, there's still some debate about that, but my understanding is that it came from Wuhan, China.
Oh, and she's right again.
It's two in a row.
She's on a hot streak. Got a hot streak here. Okay. And I got two final pop quiz questions, and I want you to share your story. Who is the person who made the call to give the Chinese $30.8 billion? And again, I would like you to look this up, Karen, because it just came out 45 minutes ago in Newsweek. So I will read. Who made the call to give the Chinese $30.8 billion to research the development of moving a bat virus into a mouse and beyond? Who wrote the check? It just came out in Newsweek and the Washington Examiner. Who did it?
Dr. Fauci.
Oh!
Straight A student for sure.
That right there, you're on fire. That just came out. Had you already heard that? Am I giving you old information, Karen?
No, I just had the sense that that's who it was. But I can't say that I knew that as a fact. But
you had a sense, though.
I did, yeah.
I'm going to read to you. I'm going to read to you. This is from Newsweek right now. I'm going to read this to you. It says, Dr. Anthony Fauci is an advisor to President Trump and something of an American folk hero for his steady, calm leadership during the pandemic crisis. At least one poll shows that Americans trust Fauci more than Trump on the coronavirus pandemic, and few scientists are portrayed on TV by Brad Pitt. But just last year, the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the organization led by Dr. Fauci, funded scientists at the Wuhan Institute of Virology and other institutions for work on gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses. And there it is. Hearing that for the first time, I'm telling you so you can look all this stuff up. How do you process that when you hear that he funded that? What is that? I don't know. How do you process as a business owner who's not trying to be political? You're just trying to run a company, and you've been told for the first time, I've been told for the first time in my entire life, that our First Amendment right to peaceably assemble no longer exists, and that you and I need to hide from the virus until all American businesses are killed. Currently, there's 30 million Americans who are unemployed. An estimated 75 million have applied, and they just haven't been able to factor the paperwork in. Small Amish towns that have basically been self-sufficient for years all of a sudden can't see people. Gyms have been destroyed, physical fitness centers, haircut chains, wonderful restaurants. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's been extremely hard, and I think it would be one thing if this was like a true tragedy that nobody could help. But I felt like I knew from the beginning something was off with this. Although I believe the virus is real, I really do. But I think it's very disheartening to know that this could be avoided. That's the hardest thing to deal with. When you know that this wouldn't have to be this way. We would not have to crash the economy, and still we could be safe from this virus, just like whether it's another virus that, can hit us at times.
Now, in 2017 and 2018, the common flu, which is nothing to laugh at, killed 80,000 people and 180 children, which is, again, I have 5 kids. If I lost any of my kids, it'd be a bad deal. 180 kids died from the flu, but we didn't shut down your business. And so do you feel like when, and I just want to get your take, and I'm not trying to catch you on it. I just want to know, because you're a business owner, would it have been helpful for you when you're watching, have you watched any of the press conferences?
Oh, yes, I do. I watch as many as I can without,
If I put my hand,
crazy.
if I put my hand up as a reporter and I said this, I'm just kind of imagine this happened, okay? Excuse me, Dr. Fauci, why did you create the virus? Wouldn't that have been an interesting question?
Yeah, yes. You do have to wonder, what would he say?
Mr. Fauci,
What would be his answer?
why did you fund the virus lab? I mean, if you say you didn't create it, we know they did, but because it's on their documents now, and I put links on thrivetimeshow.com. If you click on coronavirus, you can see the reports where they are bragging about having moved it from a bat to a mouse. If I put my hand up and said, excuse me, Mr. Fauci, why would we be funding the Chinese that are hostile towards us? Just a quick question. I mean, what question would you like to ask Dr. Fauci? Because we do have people that actually work on the Hill that listen to this show. We have advisors for the Treasury that listen to this show. We have senators and congressmen that listen to this show. We have business leaders who listen to the show. We've had Wolfgang Puck on the show. What question would you have for Dr. Fauci?
I would just question his whole, I guess just question who he is as a human being. I mean, it just feels like he wants to eliminate people. He wants to decrease the population. I mean, I know this is a little out there, but
These are all facts.
I just want to know, who are you? Like, why would a human being want to do something like that?
What's your background? Were you raised in a conservative home? Were you raised by wolves? Were you raised by the Al Qaeda? What's your background?
Mennonite, Amish and Mennonite.
Really? So you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How Amish are you?
Conservative. Well, so my husband, he was raised Amish. My parents were Amish until they got married, and then so I was raised Mennonite. So Mennonite is just like a step, away from the Amish, where we were allowed to have cars, and my husband was not. So yeah, we were raised very conservative. No TV.
No TV. Okay, so you guys have been running your business, I would guess, probably to honor God for I don't know how long. You probably work as unto the Lord's, probably the mindset maybe you guys have at tomatopiecafe.net. Is that correct? Or what is the mindset you have when you serve your customers?
We definitely, we feel like this has been our ministry. It's just what we've been given to do. It's the gift that we have been allowed to do for the last 20 years is to serve people, because it's about making a difference in people's lives. And, we're just given the vehicle through food and having, a restaurant. That's how we take care of people and, care for them and give them jobs and give them a good working environment.
I've never met a lazy Amish person, and maybe I've only met probably 25 Amish people. I bought it. My first trailer I bought when I ran DJConnection.com. I bought it from, it was an aluminum trailer. I bought it from a company in Indiana, I believe. And I bought it because I had heard the Amish trailers, man, those aluminum trailers last forever. They're quality craftsmanship. They don't cut corners. Great materials. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with you people? Why do you work so hard? What's going on?
We don't feel like we work hard. Our kids sometimes ask us the same thing, like, Mom and Dad, why do you guys work so hard? But it doesn't feel like work to us. I guess we enjoy what we do. I don't know if I can answer that, but it doesn't. If you talk to any Amish person, it's like it doesn't feel like work for us.
Now, what
and maybe it's because we enjoy the fulfillment of being productive and accomplishing things and making things better and creating solutions or whatever it might be.
What does your menu consist of? Do you serve only tomato pies? And do you even serve tomato pies?
Yes, but you probably don't know what tomato pie is. Can you tell me what your description of a tomato pie would be?
It's part of the left-wing dark conspiracy headed up by Dr. Fauci. That's what I think. And you're just falling into his plan. I have no idea. I don't know. I tell you what, I give myself a mega point because I don't know. I never go outside. I haven't left the studio in a long time. I've been quarantining, hiding from the virus.
So I honestly don't know of any other restaurant that sells tomato pie like we do.
No, I've never seen it.
It's kind of an interesting story. Yeah, it's actually a Southern-inspired dish, but it's basically fresh tomatoes chopped with we season them in herbs and seasonings, and then we put them in a pie shell, just like a regular pie shell, and then we have a cheesy topping that we put on top, and so it's served like a warm dish. We often would serve it with some greens. It's very, very unique. Let's put it that way.
You win a real mega point. That's impressive right there. Okay, so your business has been shut down for how long have you guys been shut down now?
We closed the doors March. It was on a Wednesday, March the 18th. That's when we closed it.
When did you receive, or how did you receive the notice that you had to shut down?
Yeah, let me clarify that. We did not shut down. We have 2 locations, and so the one in Harrisburg, that one we left open for 2 weeks, and so we're looking at about the end of March, where we couldn't do it. We couldn't sustain it at all. So we closed the doors on that one, and then we basically just brought all the product in our inventory from Harrisburg. We brought it to the Lidditz location. So that helped us be able to, to continue to have inventory, because we needed to stop buying food. We couldn't afford to, place big orders anymore.
I have a sound clip. I'm going to cue this up. I typically don't try to play the communist theme music a lot on the show. It's just kind of a rule I have, a hard rule. But let me hit play here. On behalf of all the communist listeners who are listening for the first time, how has having no income impacted your business?
No income. Well, I mean, we definitely, as owners, and our son, he helps us full time as well. And so, we stopped paying ourselves and him as well. And so, him or us, we've not been able to give ourselves a paycheck since back in March. And I think sometimes, people think that, if you're a business owner, well, you've got this stash somewhere. Well, you do, but yet it's not going to sustain you for long. You have a little bit of an emergency fund, but that disappears really quickly.
And let me chime in on your behalf for a second. As a business owner, you have a thing called obligations. With every right comes a responsibility. You have more obligations. So what happens is you might have a building paid for. Maybe you don't. Maybe you rent the building. Maybe you don't. But there's a lot of gym owners. I heard this today. Oh, love this comment today. Somebody said, this business who's opening up, there's a gym that's opening up. I can't remember which one it is now, but it's all over the news. He's opening up, and he's like, come arrest me. I'm opening. And I don't know, Andrew, do you know what gym it is or where it's located?
I'm pretty sure it's in Wilmington.
Yeah, Wilmington.
I'm going to put it on the notes.
Okay, but he opens up the gym. He says, I'm opening up. And these reporters are like, sir, why are you opening up your gym? Putting people at risk. Well, they don't understand. The average American doesn't have a $6,000 a month lease.
That's right.
The average American doesn't have 15 people who are dependent upon them. And a lot of these owners, a lot of them, are paying people without any income. Now, a typical American business in the restaurant industry makes between a 15 and 30% profit margin. You might make more. You might make less. But let's just keep the math simple. That means if it was a 20% margin, you only make a profit every 6 months. So every month, you only have one profitable month for every 6 months. And so a lot of you guys, spring break is the huge time of the year. It is the time of the year where you get busy. Tourists running around town going, is this the Amish place? Is this the Amish place? Where's the bathroom? Do you guys have the Amish? Oh, my gosh. Look at the Amish guy. Wow. wow, they're not super weird, but they're kind of, it's a buggy. Wow, look at that. Wow, get the chains. This is the time of the year where we want to see the guy make the swords and make the wood, the smith guy. He's making all the metal materials. We want to go see him churn the butter. We want to see him make the fudge. We want to see all that. People are pulling over. People are getting out. The summer. This is the time of the year. And a lot of businesses like yours, this is where you make almost all of the profits is in this window of time. And I'm pretty emotional about this. I'm pretty passionate about this because nobody's sharing your story. And I saw your video, and you weren't yelling at people. You weren't screaming at people. You weren't freaking out. You're sharing your story, and there was something pure and great about it. So I want to ask you this. What would you say to all the government officials who listen to this show day in, day out? What would you say to them about the urgency with which they must open up and allow you to observe and to use and to exercise your First Amendment right to peaceably assemble and to be in business? What would you say to them?
I would say you are not thinking straight about what you're doing. If you care about America and if you care about small towns, you're gonna let us open up. Because what is a small town without small businesses? Like I don't remember the percentage of the small businesses that operate in America, but I know it's really big. And
6 out of 10 jobs are small businesses. 6 out of 10 are small businesses. Just so you know, 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't understand why you guys are doing this to us, because you're going to force us to go to the big box stores. And so between Amazon and the big box stores, is that what they want?
Is that what they want?
Like I don't understand, but that's what it feels like to us as small businesses. Like we need help. You need to keep us going.
Now, you're a wonderful Amish person. A rumor has it that you don't curse ever or a lot. So I'm going to play this next sound clip to you of the great Governor Cuomo. And when you hear it, promise me you won't break your covenant with the Lord and say a foul word. Because there's a woman who was at Governor Cuomo's press conference and appears to be about your make and model, a concerned person who has been told they can't be in business anymore. And she asks him this question. And I want you to listen to the entire clip and listen to Governor Cuomo, the governor of New York. Listen to his response to her when she asked, how am I supposed to feed my family? Listen to his response.
I get the economic hardship. Everybody gets it. Everybody feels it. You want to go to work? Go take a job as an essential worker. Do it tomorrow. No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you're not going to kill anyone.
What do you have to say about that?
Oh yeah, that does make me want to say something I shouldn't say, but
yeah,
The other thing that I've heard him say is, because this is a concern of ours, is like when we are ready to bring back some of our team, who's going to want to come back? And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's the one that said, well, you pay them, you pay them $15 an hour. This is the restaurant industry,
Yep.
And that really upset me when I heard him say that as well.
Now, this is interesting.
How do you expect us to pay more when we're not even going to be able to fully operate? They're saying we're going to only be able to do 25% occupancy.
Yep.
How do you do that?
Well, I've got encouragement.
You can't.
I've got some encouragement for you. And you can think I'm a crazy man. That's fine. The only cure for an overhyped coronavirus created by Dr. Fauci, the only cure he could recommend is socialism. So this is a nefarious attack. You don't have to agree with me, but is a nefarious attack on the American lifestyle. Now, here's the deal. Sweden, which I'm not Swedish. I don't have any ties to Sweden, but Sweden, they have a guy by the name of Anders Tegnell, who is their leading expert as it relates to their response to the coronavirus. This is their version of Dr. Deborah Birx. And he said this about wearing masks. So listen, the question was asked, sir, do you recommend that Americans wear masks? And listen to his response. Here we go.
It does not provide you much protection, if any, from being infected. So I think we are definitely beyond that. The discussion right now.
It doesn't keep you from being affected, he says. This is the guy. Now, Sweden, have you seen their policy there? Have you watched their policy, Karen?
Yes. How they didn't do the shutdown?
No shutdowns, no school shutdowns. They now have a herd immunity. And then this is this is my favorite one. This is my favorite sound clip today. This is the leading expert from Illinois. The public health expert from Illinois takes the podium, and she's asked, ma'am, how do you determine when you check and you say that 55,000 people are dying from the coronavirus, how do you determine if they died from the coronavirus or not? How do you determine if somebody died from the coronavirus or not? And this is her response. It blows my mind.
Of the definition of people dying of COVID. So the case definition is very simplistic. It means at the time of death, it was a COVID positive diagnosis. So that means that if you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that if...
Make sure you're following here. If you were already at hospice, which is where you go to die, if you developed corona while in hospice where you were already going to die, they said the cause of death is now corona. Here we go. Let's continue.
It means that if... technically, even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
Oh, Karen, is that helpful?
That's very helpful. Yes, and it's also awesome to know that they pay a lot more if they put COVID as the reason, as a cause for death. I heard they get paid more for that.
Oh, and by the way,
yes.
Karen, I cannot throw you under the bus. I must play supporting sound clips. Dr. Scott Jensen, the senator from Minnesota, this is him on Fox explaining how much hospitals make every time they check the box that says somebody died from corona. Here we go. Listen to him.
Well, I would remind him that anytime healthcare intersects with dollars, it gets awkward. Right now, Medicare has determined that if you have a COVID-19 admission to the hospital, you'll get paid $13,000.
There it is, $13,000. You are correct. And have you heard about the governor from New Jersey's knowledge of the Constitution? Have you heard his knowledge of the Constitution, Karen?
No.
Oh, this will blow your mind. It's all, you go to thrivetimeshow.com and you click on coronavirus. This will blow your mind. He's on Tucker Carlson to talk about why he shut down the economy, why he shut it down. And so Tucker's just doing a little pop quiz asking him about the First Amendment, which is our right to peaceably assemble. And this is what he says about our First Amendment right to peaceably assemble. Here we go.
So you made that decision, and as I noted before, 15 congregants at a synagogue in New Jersey were arrested and charged for being in a synagogue together. Now, the Bill of Rights, as you well know, protects Americans' right, enshrines their right to practice their religion as they see fit and to congregate together, to assemble peacefully. By what authority did you nullify the Bill of Rights in issuing this order? How do you have the power to do that?
That's above my pay grade, Tucker. So I wasn't thinking of the Bill of Rights when we did this. We went to first of all, we looked at the data and the science, and it says...
He says, I can tell. Now, let me tell you this. This is really good news. I have talked to people at the highest levels of government, mayors and people. You go real high up. You can get into in government, and I can just tell you what's interesting. I have yet to interview an elected official who's ever even read the data. Now, I want to make sure, Karen, you understand this, and you know this, but the word data is based upon facts, and the word model means a prediction based upon a hypothesis. So we shut our country down based upon the predictions of Neil Ferguson, who, by the way, works for the Saudi Arabians, who, by the way, the Saudi Arabians are who we are currently involved in a price war with for oil. But anyway, so the Saudi Arabians made the model, but you see how the governor there said data? He said data. Mm-hmm. He didn't say of the models. He said data. So, and he wasn't aware of the Bill of Rights. He said he didn't consider it. What would you say to an elected official who said they came to you and said, we never really considered it. we never really thought, what would you say to him?
I don't know. You don't want to know.
Okay.
Nice. Nice.
Do you, when Amish people, when they curse, do you have little nice curse words? Like, do you say like I had a grandmother back in the day who was a German, and every time she would get mad, she would go, Scheiße, Scheiße. And I'm going, I don't know what that means, but it sounds like something I'm thinking. So I pull aside the ants, and I'm like 10 or 11. I'm like, what did she say? She's like, oh, she just cursed in German. I mean, do you have like an Amish thing where you're like, churn the butter, to fudge with them all? I mean, do you have things you say?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you for keeping it clean. No, it's okay. Now I'm going to share your I'm going to share your story. You guys have a beautifully produced YouTube video that shares your story, and I'm going to put it on the show notes, and I'm going to take the audio and put it on the show as well, so everyone can hear your story. And you're not looking for a handout. I know that. You're just looking to open up this country.
No.
For all the listeners out there that want to support you in some way, I'm not talking about sending you money or GoFundMe. I mean, so many people are crazy. They say, well, Clay, why can't all the business owners do a GoFundMe? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to need, real quick, real quick, guys, I only need $24,000 a month to fund me to pay for an empty building. Everybody, fund me. Woo! I mean, come on. That's not a thing. But what action item would you encourage all the listeners to take if they are listening and they want to take some action?
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I think we just need to be able to function like we did before. I cannot wrap my brain around what they're saying business might have to be like. Where we all have to wear masks and we can't have menus and, we have to have plexiglass between our customers.
It's not going to happen. You know why? It's not going to happen. You know why? Because the world just discovered that Dr. Fauci is a scammer.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I promise you this. I'm telling you this. You hold on to that truth and you watch it to be self-evident in the future because I'm telling you this. The whole world, how much credibility does the guy have? He's been up there talking about the lab and we don't know where it came from, and he's the one who's been studying it. I mean, think about the nefariousness of that. That would be akin to me. You said, imagine I'm a waiter for you. I'm your worst waiter of all time, okay? I'm the worst waiter of all time. I have no short-term memory or long-term memory. I don't have my sound clips already. I'm not funny. And you said, Clay, do you know what happened to the Amish cheese? And I said, I'd have to research it. And you say, but Clay, what happened to it? And I said, I will research it. And then you find out 2 months later, after I recommend, we need to shut down the restaurant to determine where the cheese is going. We got to shut it down. I hold press conferences every night where I can barely be seen over the podium because I'm a small man. And I say, here's the deal. We need to shut it down because I got to research. And then you say to me, Clay, have you been eating all the cheese? And I say, yes, but, seriously, have you noticed how Homeboy has disappeared from press conferences recently? Have you noticed Dr. Fauci's where's Dr. Fauci? Have you noticed this? Where did he go? Have you seen this?
Yes.
Oh, yes. It's going to be great. And the truth always comes out because you and I serve the same God. We believe that the light exposes darkness. It's going to happen. Yeah. Be encouraged. And if you're out there today, and I encourage you to do this, take a video, camera out on your phone, take your phone out, and film your story. Who filmed your story? Can you tell me who recorded it for you?
Yeah. So there's this organization called reopenpa.com.
Yes, reopenpa.com. So if you're listening right now, if you're listening right now, email me, info@thrivetimeshow.com, info@thrivetimeshow.com. Email me right now, and we will help you craft a video that shares your story. I just want to know the name of your company. I want to know your name. I want to know how the government the shutdown has impacted you. Many of you have told me, I don't want a stimulus. I don't want a PPP. I don't want a paycheck protection program. I don't want a stimulus. I just want to be open, okay? But send your name to me. Send your name, the name of your business. Film this stuff. Film yourself. Telling about the name of your company, your name, how the impact how the shutdown has impacted you, and I will get your story up to the highest offices in the land. We've been able to share many of these videos direct into Vice President Pence's office. These videos have been seen. Some of these videos have been shown on Hannity. We're going to see if we can get your video on Hannity. We want to get this thing out there, and I appreciate you so much for being on the show. But my only strong coaching moment for you, my only correction I'm going to give you is be encouraged, because you're going to get through this, and don't worry about that ridiculous world where we run around dressed up like we're weird characters from some nuclear fallout movie, where we're living in the Fauci wonderland where he's trying to limit the population of the earth. I mean, that guy, he reject it, rebuke it, and just know that the light is going to expose his darkness. Be encouraged.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Yes.
You are Absolutely. An angel. I cannot wait to come visit you when we are open. And I'm just going to say this. I'm saying this in advance. The paycheck protection funding is happening. It's happening from coast to coast. 4 more states opened up, and you're going to be opened up. If I had to put a date on it, based upon the data, I say May 15th you're open, if not earlier, May 15th. But we're gonna do everything we can to possibly get your state opened up as soon as possible. Thank you for sharing your story, ma'am, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Take care, friend.
Day.
You too.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
Hi, we are Chris and Karen Fisher, and we are the owners of the Tomato Pie Cafe located in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. We have 2 locations for Tomato Pie Cafes, and the one location is here in Lidditz, and then the other one is in Harrisburg. And the one in Harrisburg is going on 8 years, and the one here in Lidditz, we opened 10 years ago. We have about 30 employees at each location. We've been taking all the precautions necessary. We feel like we are very, very, very committed to safety here because we do believe that the virus is very contagious. And so we do take it very seriously here. Because we're considered an essential business, there's still a lot of hardships that we are facing, even though we are permitted to have our doors open. But it doesn't mean that we are able to have guests come and dine inside the way we used to. It's strictly just for people calling in orders. They come in, pick up their order, and out the door they go. And that dramatically reduces the number of sales that we have each day. So since March 19th is when we saw the first impact. And so we immediately cut back on our staff. That's been really difficult to have to tell our team that we no longer can employ them. We tried to be smart with our food because in the restaurant industry, you have all these perishable items. It's not just like a piece of furniture that you can keep and it'll be okay in months to come, but we're dealing with a lot of perishable items here. We went down to just having the manager and the assistant manager at each location working. We did that for about a week and it just was not sustainable, so we ended up having to close the location in Harrisburg and we transferred a lot of the product here so that it would keep us going for a little bit longer. So now into week 5, I believe, and we're now getting to the point where we don't know how much longer we can keep going. We only have 2 people working at a time. This is definitely the hardest thing that we've ever been through.
And I think the biggest thing is the financial strain, where we as business owners are not being able to be paid in order to pay our staff. So the financial strain, even though we're allowed to be open, has been very difficult.
My concern is that, at the end of this, which we still don't know the end of the story for Tomato Pie, it's day by day, week by week. But when we think about what would happen to this town if we would have to close the doors for good, I know that would have a huge impact on this amazing little town of Lidditz. The main street on Lidditz was so vibrant. We were known to be one of the coolest towns in America, but I know that I can speak for dozens of other little shop owners here. I know that a lot of them already know they're not going to be able to survive, which is so sad. And how do you revitalize a town that's so based on small businesses, where if all these small businesses shut down, what choice is that going to leave us other than big box stores or, the big companies, where we're going to be forced to rely on them instead of these small businesses?
So my message to state representatives would be that they would work hard to let us reopen business in a safe environment.
So I would ask you, state representatives, we need you to take action and allow us to reopen and to end this declaration of emergency now.
And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Get ready to enter the Thrive Time Show.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
We started from from the bottom, now we're on the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colin Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm a dive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNZ